Hello, crypto YouTubers. It is coinpicker.us. Today we're going to cover a couple of things that are different than normal. We're going to look at the US dollar index because it's about to have a major impact on all cryptocurrencies. We're going to, of course, take a look at Bitcoin and see whether or not we're going to rise or fall here. LTC has gotten a lot of excitement, but is it really justified? And then, of course, Ethereum and a couple of new projects to include in discussions because they are breaking the mold as to how to introduce coin and how to make a profit from it. Stay tuned. As mentioned, I'm going to cover the US dollar index because, believe it or not, Bitcoin originally was intended to be the anti-dollar. It was supposed to be a digital equivalent of gold. Many of the benefits of gold, rarity being the primary among them, but the ability to transact internationally and seamlessly electronically. That was the original intention of Bitcoin. And gold is the anti-dollar. They're often competing and they move generally inverse, which is why gold is now retreating right now. But let's take a look at the 10-year US dollar index with some Donchian channels, commodity channel index, of course, and stochastic RSI. What we can see here is that the dollar is due for a rebound, and we're probably going to get it. And that is going to fake out a large number of people that would have been looking for safety, because the dollar, as you can see, has been on a downward trend, would have been looking for safety in gold, commodities, silver, etc. Because they're misidentifying this as a reverse trend, when in fact all it is a minor wave correction in a major downtrend. If you can tell me that going from 102 down to 87 and then perhaps even getting a bounce up to 95, which I doubt. I think the bounce will terminate earlier. Is a reversal of trend. I'm confused because basically this is a scenario of classical lower lows, lower highs. So if somebody were to claim that this is a massive reversal of trend, and I'm beginning to hear it now, where the dollar is going to rebound, it's going to recover. Certainly in a minor wave correction, yes. Gold and silver will suffer. Commodities will suffer in terms of retracing down. I am saying, though, that don't fall for it. And also, it will act as somewhat of a hamper against, of course, the stock market, but also against cryptocurrency to a certain extent, because part of what cryptocurrency offers is a escape hatch from a decreasing dollar or effectively inflation. We will see, in my opinion, a fairly significant upward move in the dollar, which will probably fail in the 93 or 94 area, if not earlier. It could potentially go as high as 95, but probably not. And my suspicion is that we will then begin a significant decline. And that is going to give massive turbo power to the up leg in cryptocurrency. That's why this is critical. Let's look at Bitcoin and see where we're at. On a daily basis, Bitcoin has a preponderance or higher probability to retrace, go down, or trend. Not a great trading position unless you are able to go short, in which case it is a relatively good trading position because it looks like it's going to continue down. On a weekly basis, everything is still in play. We still have the same upward move. We're going to have to settle out here in this particular area, but we will continue up per my analysis that's been consistent for a while. Litecoin, somewhat the same boat, but more, it definitely has a downward bent, although it seems to be achieving some stability above the moving average. But again, not a great trading position for a massive upward move at this point at all. On a weekly basis, it's a little bit better, but still, on a weekly basis, the odds are that it will continue somewhat of an upward trek, but unless there's some massive dislocating news, it's going to be more of a trend than a rocket up, because none of the indicators are showing an aggressive upward move. It'll be more of a trend. You're not in danger of missing out on an explosion based on my analysis. Things can change, but that's what I'm saying. Ethereum, I had been calling for a retracement on Ethereum for a while, and we certainly got it. It was part of it was the bug that was discovered, or the hack on the smart contracts, and we definitely have significant downward potential on a daily basis, and on a weekly basis we have moderate upward potential. moderate, less so than Litecoin, less so than Bitcoin, and that's been the case for a period of time. Now, some of the projects that I wanted to bring up that I think are breaking the mold here, you know what, come to think of it, I've got coin market cap right here. Let's take a look at this. SiaCoin. Okay, now aside from the fact that SiaCoin has had a massive run up, part of that's due to an offering that they put forth. But the key thing about that offering, what I want to talk about with SiaCoin, is that they have broken out, and they're claiming it as a new feature. Several other projects already have this, and I call it the 3P. Path to profit. So the new SiaCoin token is a SiaFund token. Unfortunately, it was originally priced at $7,500 for accredited investors only, and it went through you had to go through a lot of hoops to get it. But the point of that token is that you're going to get paid a share of the profits from the SiaCoin network, which is essentially a storage coin network. I'm not in love with the concept at all. I think storage is a commodity. I think storage is destined to constantly decrease. I compliment them on their business. They've raised a lot of money, and they have a reasonable valuation. However, I wouldn't rush headlong into any of their investments. Yes, it's been a nice bump up, but it's not what I consider to be the optimal path to profit. Whereas Populous is better, Salt is potentially better, several other projects are better. But the key thing to note here is we've now broken away from the fear of missing out and the greater fool method of increasing the value of a cryptocurrency to the point where we're now demanding profits out of the cryptocurrency, and the projects are beginning to adhere to that method. It's a little bit confusing, but I'm going to show you what they're talking about here. I read through this. There's a paper on it. Okay, let me show it to you because I think it's worthwhile for those of you that are interested. Here we go. If you take a look at this, SiaFund, so you go to their Twitter feed and check this out, and then I think they have an article right here. Yes, ICO's TSOs. They're calling a TSO, a tokenized security offering. And that's the fact that they're using the word security says that they're openly adhering to the security laws, the SEC rules, the Howey test, etc., which I'm not in favor of. I think we want to leave all of that behind. If you're voluntarily deciding to buy a token or a cryptocurrency, you have to do your own due diligence, and there's no guarantee that if you buy an IPO or a TSO that's gone through some SEC checks, that's going to be around in a year either. Except it will be a lot more expensive, as this one was, $7,500. It will be much more restrictive, and it will have an enormous regulatory burden. And of course, regulators are all crooks in the end. Anyway, just my humble opinion. So the bottom line is, while it's a new profit method, and the space has needed it, cryptocurrency is needed. I've talked about that. I said once we shake out the speculative froth, if we don't have a new method where people are buying cryptocurrency projects or buying into them, whatever you want to call it, and being able to get some form of return other than just an increase in the value of the token, which of course demands new people come into the market, we're going to have a big problem in the space. Fortunately, it looks like we've got the first shoot popping up from the soil. There's several other ones that have surpassed it, but they did it in different ways. So I just wanted to fill that in and let everybody know that there are some exciting trends. I still say we have an upward move. I'm not one of those saying we're going to recrest 20,000 in Bitcoin or 830 billion. I think we're going to rest before then. But that is coinpicker.us. And just before I go, I want to let anybody know who's interested. The coinpicker.us site is getting closer and closer and closer. I have some new features on it. Of course, the memberships are there, but don't jump on them. The memberships aren't really going to be fully operational, ready for probably a couple of days as I get all the technical stuff sorted out. But please do go ahead and sign up at coinpicker.us. I'm going to get back into sending out the email reports for those of you who have been used to getting them. And coinpicker.us signing out. We'll talk to you tomorrow.